All right.
Shalom. With I.S.U.P.K. Started out 1 West, 125th Street, under command of General YAHANNA, Harlem, New York. We teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the 12 tribes of Israel. Not affiliated with any other group, not under commanding General YAHANNA. I.S.U.P.K. is not of the truth. My name is Qadash, Officer 50. I'm going to be teaching tonight's class, Lashawan, as we had last week. We went over the connectors, we went over the paleo, we went over the ending characters of Assyrian. I'm glad to have you back today on Friday. Amongst all of the viruses and things going on out there, we still hold class. We still stay strong in I.S.U.P.K. How is shy to the brother. How is Shamar Alathar Ba'ashem, how is shy to the sisters. Get your notepad. Like we said, get your notepad and a pencil, and we're going to teach the Lashawan Qadash as it was in our ancient times, and we're going to update it with the Assyrian. We're going to go over the Hebrew characters again, the Paleo and the Assyrian. If you have any questions, type them in, and we'll see if we can get to them. If not, next week we'll try to get them this week. So get your pencils out, paper, and we'll get something on the board, and we'll get ready here, get set. Have our markers. You ready? And we're going to erase what we had on the board from last week. In order to learn Lashawan Qadash, you have to go over the characters, which you would call the alphabet in our language. So these are characters, just like there are characters in any other language. But we're the mother language. The Paleo is the oldest language. So we're going to go over a review. Every week we'll try to review the alphabet and what we learned from last week, and as an update each week, so you'll have a strong understanding of Lashawan Qadash. Lashawan Qadash, we have 2 vowels, 22 characters, the A and the I. Lashawan means tongue or language. Qadash, holy. And we're going to dive right into it. And with this language, you can talk back and forth to each other in the I.S.U.P.K. Talk to your brothers. And sisters, you can talk to your ribs. Sisters, you can talk to your husbands. And you can talk to your children. And you learn the language together. And the husbands, you can help your husband out with Lashawan Qadash as you as maybe being a secretary learning. so as he's teaching you, you can learn more. And let the man lead out, and the woman, you listen, and then of course what you're learning here is a strong lesson. I'm the teacher, trying to be anyway. That's what we are doing here from week to week, to learn to be more proficient in Lashawan Qadash. So we have a series of characters. We're going to go over them again in the Paleo and the Hebrew. And the Paleo will have sorry about that. Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka. Stop right there, and then we'll start to fill them in. Like I said, it's a review. We'll find that chart. Did they put it back up again? Maybe up in the closet. But anyway, on the paleo, on review, a lot of stuff. Appreciate that. And here's the chart that we'll use for our Lashawan Qadash class. It has reference to the Hebrew, the paleo up top, and of course you have the Syrian down here. All these characters, there are 22 in each one, and all these characters help make up words, and that's what we're learning every week. Get used to those characters. The more and more you have reference to the characters, the better off you will be. So the A character looks like that. It says Ah. Looks like an I, and then you have your Ba. We'll make this a little better here. And then you have the Ga. Then you have the Da. Ah, Ba, Ga, Da. Then you have a little cone-looking figure here. Well, we're reviewing the course. You guys gotten this before. If you're in the second week, you could have gone this for this for the new students. And for those students, you can put in your book and get yourself proficient. Like I said, you have to get yourself a notebook, put it in, put all the lessons in your notebook every time. Every time we do the alphabet, do it over and over again until you get very, very proficient. Make it second nature. Ah, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha. And then you have the Wa sound, or Wa. Wa. Character looks like that. Looks like sort of like a Wa. And the Z looks just like it says. Just like we bring the Z down right there. Ha, Wa, Za. And you have your Ka. Just like we have on the chart. And if you ever get stuck from time to time, if you need to use the chart, fine, that's not a problem. When you get real good at it. Zaka. And we have Ta, Ya, Ka, La. It's close together there. Let's lock it. So Ta sound. I always put like a T in it because that's what it looks like. It can look that way or it can look this way. Sorry. We'll get careless right there. Try to make these characters each time as good as I can. The Ta and the Ya. It's like a little Z with a kickstand, as one student would say. Bashar. The Ka. What's up, Ga? La. Awazaka. So forth, we'll let you catch up right there. Write those down. Like we're saying, we're reviewing. La. And then we're going to go with some more down here. We're going to go Ma, Na, Sa. Ma. Sort of looks like a upside down M. Just put a stem on it. That's how I remember it. The N. So it looked like an upside down N. But you have to put a stem on it. Remember? In my last classes, just put that stem on it. That'll do it every time. Then you have your Sa. Looks like a sigh. A sigh. Like a cutting sigh, or I guess you could say that. Ma na sa. You have what we call I. It's one of the vowels. If you notice all the other vowels. It makes our language proficient. Abagada, hawazaka, tayakala, manasa, I. Pa, we'll have a character, one of the longest characters, in written form, taza. See how they look on the board here? Kind of far back, isn't it? A little closer so that we can see it better. Pa. Tazat. And as you can see, the characters, how they look here, and how we have them on the board. So far, we're not finished, but we have Abagada, Hawazaka. Like I said, this is a review. Manasa, Ipataza. This is a review for our class. Let you guys catch up a little bit. I have a Q sound, like a little fan, a little popsicle. Qua. Well, I guess I have to write the English for it first. And we'll have a ra. Going pretty fast because we're reviewing, like we said before. Ra is look like a sort of a ra, no, backwards. 4 like that. Ra. Sha. Ba ga da ha wa za ka ta ya kala. These characters help make up our words. Here, if you want to say Yah, Yeshaya, or Yahweh, you use this character. You want to say Dawada, use that character. In the Paleo, of course. Original language. Just a straight up W. Manasa, I, pataza, kwa, ra, sha. Then we have our ta. Like a lay down cross, sort of. Let you catch up with that for about a few seconds there. Like I said, if you have any questions, you type them in and we'll see if we can get to them. Not next week. But that's the Paleo Hebrews, characters. They need connectors to make them happen, as we discussed last week. They need connectors. So if we say a word like black, a word like this, it's black. We want to see what that word looks like. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's shakawa. I had to write it big enough there. So we have to write what we call, the first thing we'll do is we'll write Hebrew from right to left. We'll say Shah. There's that character just like that. Shah, right here. Then we're going to write the Ka, right there. A little ladder sound, Shaka. Then we have war. We have Wa. Then we have completed. We have to complete it out with the R sound. It has to be put there, because if not, you have Shaka Wa. Make that war. We got to do. Right, officer? Let's complete that R sound. There we go. Now I'm going to take out, like we did last week, red and green. And I'll write here. Let's sound it out. Sha. Like I said, I'm going over a review sort of quick. Sha. We do this every week because I want to get into some more connectors and different words. Very, very easy. This is the word black, like I said. Shah. Independently connected. Well, let's write it down here. Independent. These are connectors. Independent connected. That means it holds a sound of its own. It holds a character. It needs no joining together of anything. So we'll say Shah by itself. Then we'll say Ka, because it's independently sounding. Shaka. And these, that little symbol there, symbolize that it's independently connected. When you put it under the character, when you put it under Shah by itself, Shah, just like that. Not hard. Ka, independently connected. That's how you pronounce the word. We say the word black in Hebrew, Shah, Ka. We want to say this time, we're going to need some help. We're going to use, I'll use this in red. Underline it real thick here. War. So, I asked for the class. Think about it. Would it be like this? With two independently? Shaka wa ra? Nah. La. So for the sake of time, that's what we'll do. We'll actually join these two together with an upside down U. That is a dependent connector. Dependent. Connector. Because it's dependent on another character sound. Sorry. Rushing here. Get in a rush. So you're saying wa and ra together, which makes war. Shah, ka, war means black. Okay? Now that's a review of Paleo. Real quick. We'll get into the Syrian and we'll get into some endings where it needs no connectors. And but I just want people to understand real quick, go through the process of writing this down again. Pick up another, did I do that work last week? Not sure, probably not. But that's black. That's who we are. Blacks, Hispanic, Native Indians, people of color. Black, Shakawar. Give you a second to write that down. Let it sink in. See any questions on there, sir?
No.
Okay. Let that sink in for you. Is the joint together?
What's up? No, you good.
Okay. Shakawa. It's one good word with the connectors. Once again, sha in green there. Ka, independently connected. Wa and the ra sound go together. That one and that one. Put them together and it spells war. It sounds like war. And that's how you get that sound. War, shock of war. So we'll erase that. If you have any problem, you can replay it back. So I try to give you time to write that down on the independent connectors. You guys got your alphabet pretty much together. I'm going to keep them up there for a second because we're going to try to go over a little bit more before we go over the Syrian right there. This is the Paleo. In the Syrian, that word shakawar, if you wanted to do it, well, we'll do it a little later. We won't. I don't want to confuse the Paleo from the Hebrew. The Paleo, most of the classes I learned, and it took a while for us to get to both of them. But that's the Paleo, and then we'll get to the Syrian in a little second here. There's a word called blaze. We'll use black here. What does that word mean, sir? Blaze in Hebrew. What do you think that means? It's lahab, and that's lahab. Blaze, remember? Isn't it? I believe. That word, blaze. Lahab. Isn't there an officer called Lahab in our camp, right? That's what his name means. I just realized that.
Not necessarily on camp, but yeah, it's in my eyes in the school.
Yes, sir, in the school. Thank you. Water. Lahab. So we got everything that we need to make the word sound out. We got everything we need. We'll use the red and green again. You have the translation. Lahab. That's what it means. To blaze. Set on fire, like a blaze. So we'll go with La. We'll start out with La. What do you hear? You don't hear L-A-H. You don't hear that. You don't hear La, La-ab. You hear La by itself. La. So, in Paleo, so we'll write La by itself. See how big that is, see if I'm writing big enough. La, yeah, it's pretty big. La. Let's get over here in the center of the board. We'll make it look a little better. It's better now. I'll write it thicker. You can see it. La. Then we'll put an independent connector because it sounds by itself. We'll put la. There you go. That independent again. Independent connector. These are connectors. So it's got an independent sound all of its own. La. And we have another sound. Ha. Y'all can see that pretty good, pretty thick. It's a ha sound. Right there. First one was a la. The next character is a ha. Because that's what we're spelling out right here. In red. Right there. Can't miss it. Ha. Take your time and write that down in your notes real good. And then, so far we have la ha, not la ah, like no, it's la ha. These characters make a nice sound. La ha. It's two vowels, A and I. Have a la, then we have a ha. Then we have something else sticking out over here. That B. What are we going to do with it? Well, we need to join that. If you want to say hob, you want to join it together. There's the B over here. You can drop the A because we've joined it. Lahab means to blaze. So we'll put a dependent connector here because those sounds are totally dependent upon each other. In this particular case, not every case, in this particular case, to make the sound hob. La hob. La in green. Hob. Ha. Put the B there, and you wonder what happened to the A. Well, you don't need it, because if you didn't, it'll be la haba. We don't need this. It may be a word, but you have to go look it up. But if you, right here, that would be correct. So it doesn't need an A sound. If you did, if it had la haba, it'd be like that. You don't need that. You just need la hab. Let that sink in. Write that down for a second. People online.
No, I know why it's online.
Where would it be at?
You could,
We see it pretty good. Yeah, we can see pretty good. Lahab. So if you're out there, you're online, put yourself in class. That's another word, it means blaze. The paleo. Not to be confused with Assyrian, Syrian was adopted in our captivity Actually, they still use that right nowadays. They've taken our language over there, same sounds. They try to sound it a little different with their vowel points and all of that. But however, our words, our characters, it all come from the Paleo. In Assyria, in our captivity, that's when we learn the Assyrian from, our captivity. Like I said, here we go again, the chart. Give me a second to write that down again. No, it's on Facebook.
Is that?
Facebook.
Yeah, we live on our platform.
And if you're on Facebook, welcome you in. So we'll erase it now. Like I said, if you need these words again in the Paleo Hebrew, all you have to do is just rewind it. And of course, we'll write maybe a couple more just as a review. Okay. There's a word, a lot of people, it's called, a lot of people, we use Khan a lot, K-A-N. It actually means yes. And as we're writing words down, you can put them over to the side. I mean, it's not necessarily vocabulary because we have harder words, but since we're doing this for illustration of connectors, independent connectors, that's what this is for. So you get used to it, so you get used to the understanding of what these characters are trying to do. So yes, in Hebrew would be pronounced Khan. Khan means yes. Write that down, and we'll break that word down here, connectors. Give yourself a chance to write that down. Ka. Well, we have a Ka sound, ka. We write Hebrew from right to left. That's why I'm not over here writing that way. We'll always write it from right to left. Sort of backwards from what we have in English there. English is backwards if you ask me. But that's what it is, trying to write it real thick. It's a Ka. Now this word has, if you're out there, we're going to do this. That's that part of the sound, but since we want Khan to be all one word in this case, it's not ka na. That would be kana would be ka na. But that's not what we're doing. We're not doing kana. We're doing Khan. One full word. If that's the case, that means we'll have to make this sound here, these characters, join together. And how do we join them together? Well, we go ahead and write it in. Go ahead and write it in sound, in connector. I'm sorry, in character, and then join all this together. Khan. One word. That means that this is dependent upon each other to make the sound Khan. Means yes. Give you a chance to write that down. Khan. Yes. Say Khan Aruam Khan. Or just say yes. Khan. We'll erase that word. And like I said, in the paleo, all these characters, get used to them. You can pronounce every last one of those characters by themselves, independently, their own enunciation, with their vowel, A, except for the I. Write them all the way across. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, kala. Manasa. I, which looks funny because it's just a big old zero look there. But that's what it looks like. I, pa. So you can see right here. The I and the pa. What are we doing here? The taza, the kwa, the ra, the sha, it's a regular W, and a laid down cross makes ta. Get to the point where we can write them down, then you'll be able to spell the words more proficient. You begin to pronounce the words and understand what these connectors. You got to be able to pronounce the word in order to put the connectors there. So that helps. We're going to write a word called for father, if you want to say fathers. Abba. We'll write the word first. And we'll write the translation of what it is. Father. Okay, you said it was supposed to be. Okay. With the word father. And father in Hebrew is translated to be Ah. There's that Ah. Ah. And we say ba. Abba. Abba. You can almost hear it. You can hear it. You don't hear ab, ah. You can hear the sound. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to make sure that when you get a word in front of you, that you can get used to pronouncing these sounds, because you're going to use the characters to pronounce it or enunciate it. Ah. Ba. They're right beside each other. You cannot miss it. Ah, ba. There again, we're doing the paleo. To reiterate, vowel sounds are ah and I. There's only 2. And there are 22 of these characters. Paleo. To reiterate it again. Ah, ba. So, write that down. Get used to that. We welcome you, Yasha Marie from Columbus, Ohio. Good. Take good notes. That's good. Appreciate that. Come to class. Give you a chance to catch up there. Yasha Marie. Shalom, Yasha. Okay, yes. Woman, of course. We thank you for coming to class, joining in. We'll put ah. Ah is independently connected. Well, I'm sorry, I used the wrong one. We'll go with, not that it matters, but we'll use, since I wrote it on the board in green and red, we use the independent connectors in green. It looks like this. Not to be confused. The only reason why I underline the word is just so you can see that I'm trying to pronounce that character, ah. And of course you don't write that. You don't write that, that's just for illustration. This is the connector right here. Ah. Ah. Water system. I was Shamal Athaba, I show you how we shot to you, sister. Ah. And then we're going to have ba. The ba, ah, ba. So these are 2. Oh boy. Still trying to do the wrong thing there. Well, we're going to use this green this time because all we have is independent connectors. We don't have anything dependent upon itself. Just 2 characters on their own. Ah, ba. Take good notes, Yasha. Is that how? I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. If it is, if I didn't mess it up, put a 1 in your type 1 in if I pronounce your name correctly. Don't want to mispronounce it. Yasha Marie. Absolutely. Ah, ba. From Columbus, Ohio. Ah, ba. Independently pronounced on its own. Abba, which means father. Now we got father. Surely there's a mother. We'll get that word here in a second. The water sister, Yasha Marie. That's father. We'll let you write that down. And like I said, for the people who just joined in class, write all these down in your notebook. Every time if you write down, it seems like it's mundane, like I keep repeating over and over again. I've written these things down at least 200 times. So they're in my mind. I don't need the chart to write them down because they're in my mind. That's how I can spell words. Of course, translating, we'll have to look them up. I know Abba, father. However, to be able to pronounce them and understand them, you get familiarization with how the characters sound, how they're pronounced, the enunciation of them, the breaking down of them. When you say ah, ba, ga, not ga, da, ha, wa, not za, not zay, ka. And you notice this is a ka and that's a ka. They're 2 different sounds. One is ka, long, like a long sound, ka. And over here, it would be a short sound, ka. I'm going to say ka, That's my name, Qadash Shapar, Ka. But if you want to say a short sound, you say, of course you say a word like Katazah, Katazah. But over here, if you want to use a word for Khan, like we had before, it's Khan, real quick, Khan, not Khan, it's Khan. But over here it's Ka, little difference. So anyway, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Ta, Za, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Ta. Write that down. Every week you'll be writing this down. We're going to move on to a series in a little bit, but just for the sake of writing it over again, get you a good chance. And then you can throw these in your vocabulary, but just for the sake of the connectors, you pronounce that independent by itself, and Ba. Now you can really mess this word up if you went and did this. I'll erase this. Now this is just for illustration, so don't take this as the gospel. It's just illustration here. If I said that and try to join all that together, that's ab, and then say that would be totally wrong. Totally wrong. Not even close to being right. So you wouldn't say it's ba. That's the whole point of having connectors, so you'll know how to pronounce the word in its correct form. That makes sense? So let's erase this word. Get another word up here. For mother. Everyone has a mother. You're born, you got a mother. You got a father. You got a mother. So we're going to have a word called ama. Ama. So mother mother. Trying to write it real thick here so you can see it. Ma. And if you're on Facebook, we welcome you also. With I.S.U.P.K, started on 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA, where we teach that blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians are the 12 tribes of Israel. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. If they're not under I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General YAHANNA, it's not in the truth. And that's what we're teaching now, the truth, our language. So we're going to have the word ma. So this word just happens to be the same as ba, as far as pronunciation is concerned, or enunciation. Only it's ama, mother. So we're going to take out we'll actually read. If you think this is going to be independent connectors for this and that, type of one in the register there. If it's going to be ma, or is it going to be a? If it's ma, if everything is a connector is independent, like this, type of one. Ma. A little too big there. Those upside downs, we use those for independent connectors. Shalom, Bree. from Augusta, Georgia. Shalom for coming in class. Independent, that's right. That's right. Yesha Marie, that's exactly right. You type the 1 and that's exactly right. And write that down in your notes, and that's exactly how the word looks. Ma. You can see it real well there. It means mother. And if you just came in class, we had a word up for father. It was Abba. I mean, for the sake of writing, I'll write it down. Father. For the new people coming in. We'll write that one down because these are words that you're going to use a lot. Amma and Abba. I'll even write it down again. Abba. And they also had independent connectors. That means it's not you pronounce those two characters out of the 22 characters, those two characters, the and the ba, independently of each other. Ba, ma. We'll let that sit up there for a second. Make sure you write notes. And like I said, in order to get real good at this, and I'm just a student, just starting, not real good, but I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to get proficient. But it was because I had good teachers above me, good officers above me teaching me, and I wrote down every last character. Even though it seems like, oh, I gotta write this all over again. Yes, write it again. You're welcome, Yesha Marie. The water. We work with the word the water over there is usually, we'll take that. But we're teaching Lashawan Qadash. Got 2 vowels, just for the sake of the audience. 22 characters. Abagada, Hawazaka, Tayakala, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Ka. Pronounced pretty much like that. That's why you say Ma, mother, Ba, father. Okay, I think we've had that. We'll get to another word here, and then we'll move on to some Assyrian. We'll get some practice in Assyrian. I'd like to try to introduce them, the Paleo and the Assyrian. When I first started class, I wanted to show you what they were. But when you get into depth and start doing connectors, after a while, we'll start to put the two together so you can see all the characters underneath each other in the Assyrian and Paleo. And it's not so much about board space. I don't want to confuse anybody. I want to make sure we're doing the Paleo. That's the original. These characters, you got enough in learning these. Independent, dependent connectors. And we're going to move on to another word. We have a word called let's see. We're going to use, since we use Khan, we'll use a word called la'ah. La'ah. Who knows what that means? If you see it in the register, type what you think that means in the register. La'ah. What translation? Type what it in at Bree and what's that? Yeah, Bree. Yeah, Bree Thomas and Yesha Marie. Type that in. What you think la'ah means, write that, type it in English. What is the English translation? What is that la? That's the Hebrew for it. La'ah. What do you think it means? Type it in. We'll wait for you there. That's right. Very good, Yasha Marie. You own it. It means no. Very good. We'll see you in class every week, you and Bree. We're going to build on this. It means no. Very good. Of course, we're going to get into more words that are more detailed, but yes and no. We're going to get into more words, but we're going to do words that are used every day. I'm not going to say simple or complex. They're just words that are used every day. La means no. So now, let's put the connectors on it. La for Bree. Very good, Bree. This means no. That's exactly right. Means no. So for both of you, la means no. So, and we want you to type in your register, is this going to be dependent connectors? If it's dependent connectors, or dependent connectors in red here will look upside down you like that. Or is it going to be independent connectors under there for those for la? What is it going to be? Type 2 if it's dependent connector, and like I have in green over here, type 1 if it's independent connectors that you're going to use, or both, 1 and 2. What do you think it's going to be? La. Kind of giving you sort of a hint, just the way I enunciate it. La. Is it la ha, or is it la? Which one? So type in the register if it's connected independently, la for each one, each character, or if there's going to be some involved in some dependent connectors. Are we going to use independent connectors for this word? Just type 1. It's going to be, if I'm going to use dependent connectors, type 2. We'll wait for you there. If you understood, we're going to, if it's the connectors are independent, do we say la or do we say la with an H? Ha, that means you have to use dependent connector. Which one is it? 1 or 2? Dependent or independent connectors. So type it in your register. 1 or 2. So far, you've been doing great. You've been getting them right, correct? La means no. So what do you think? Yasha and Bree? Well, anyway, for the sake of time, we'll say the first one will be la. Hope I didn't confuse you anything like that. It's la, be like that. La. Connector. The same. You could just type a 1 if you want to be independent connector, like this one. La by itself. See, this sound here, that character, la, is independent upon itself as far as enunciation is. So you would be, you saying connectors? The connectors, I got you, I follow you. Okay, so you just start class. The connectors, let's go over the class. In Paleo Hebrew, in order to pronounce the words, you have to have connectors. Like, you have independent connectors and dependent connectors. Dependent will be, let's go ahead and just, for the sake of writing it out so we can just explain to Yasha, since you came in class, Yasha Marie. like the sounds by itself. La, and then ah. They're independent of themselves. La, then ah. La, ah. Just like that. That explains the connectors. And I'll put another word up here. So because let's do it independent, because I think you might have came in class a little late, and we'll do another one. We'll do a word. If la means no, we'll do a word like let's do yes for con. So for the sake of illustration purposes, con, which means yes. Yeshua, Marie, and Brie, of course, you know. Now, but in order to do this word, con, for the sake of illustration, you're going to have to use a dependent connector. You're going to have to join these together because they're all pronounced the same. I mean, they're all pronounced with the dependency upon each other. Ka and the na. Con. So when you write the word out, over here, con, you'll say, I don't have enough room here. Yeah. We'll erase that and do the con so you'll be able to see the difference here. I don't want to get too crowded on our board here, so you'll be able to see the difference. We write the word con, which is yes. Since you know what independent connectors are, now let's find out what dependent connectors are. Since we came in class late, we'll show you. Con means yes in Hebrew. And that is spelled like that. Ka, and then ka, then na. But you have to put them together. They cannot be pronounced independently. You can't say ka because there's no there's no sound there to make con sound the same all congruent the same. You have to go a dependent connector. They have to depend on each other to make a sound. Con, like that. The whole word has a dependent. Oh, I sure used the wrong one. Sorry, Russian. Sorry about that. We use red for illustrations. Con. All right. You understand now? Good. Great. Good. That's what it means. So, ka and na are pronounced together. Their characters are pronounced together, and you get the word con, or yes. Dependent upon each other. So that's what I mean when you type in a register, connectors. I mean, it's kind of hard to do, but we're doing the best we can. Connectors, independent connectors, and dependent connectors. Now we've illustrated a couple words like that before. We'll go over another one for you, since might have been some miss up here. Let's go over a word that we did before. We'll go over. Let's go over the word bond, which means sun. Sun. Bond. You write that down. And I want you to tell me, since now you guys, okay, got it, very good. The water sisters. If you understand now how to do that, and I'm going to write the characters for bond in the Hebrew. Ba, then we'll use a na. Now, type in the register. How would we connect this? Is it going to be ba na, ba'an, or ban? Do we use a dependent connector? That means join the whole thing together. These two dependent upon each other, ban. Or do we say ba-na, ba-na? Or do we say independent upon each other? I'm sorry, independent connectors. Ba first, then na. Which one? If it's a one, if it's a connector that's independent, that means you're going to have to do ba and then na. You have to, it'll look like this. It'll look like that. But if it's not, or are we going to do like that? Or we're going to join them together to make one sound. So type in the register. If it's independent, ba and na are their own, type a 1. If they need each other, like the B and the N needs each other, ba, type a 2 in the register. We'll make sure we know. Give you a chance to write that. Type it in. For Bree and Yeshai, if it's going to be dependent, if we need a dependent connector here, we've got to have something. That's what paleo does. It got to have something. Or is it independent upon each other? We write a 1 if it's independent and write a 2 if it's dependent. Very good, Sha Marie. And you can participate also, Bree. That's the same thing. That's exactly right. We'll have to do very good. So I think we're getting it real good here. So we'll put an upside down U right here. That means join them together. Join the B and the N, and you get the word pronounced bond. Believe it or not, all the words in paleo have the same type work, same connectors, the same duty. You'd have to figure out which one you're going to use. Independent or, sir?
No, I'm disagreeing with you.
Independent connector or dependent connector. Exactly, sir. Thank you, the water. You're right. Which one are you going to use? All of them have the same duty, same work. You have to figure out which one you want to use. And that goes into how the word is spelled, how it's pronounced. Okay, son. So we'll erase that. Write that down in your book. Good. What we'll do now, since we got the hang of it, we understand. We'll write one more word, then we'll move to a little Assyrian. The next time we'll concentrate mainly on Assyrian. I just want to make sure because, see, just right there, see, when we don't take the time to do the paleo to get it right, even though things seem plain, mundane, and just simple, you still have to. Thomas Brown, we thank you for checking in, sir. Yahweh Shai Brakatha, coming in, class. Strong. So even though you come late, just come on in. That's what this is for. Get out your book, write this down. They still okay? Can you see it? They see the adjustment on there pretty good?
Oh yeah, you good.
Is it good? Okay, all right. I want to stand back this for us, kind of off the picture there. Okay.
Oh, you good.
Okay, good.
You may just want to just step back just a little bit, though. Yeah, about right there. They can still see you.
They can see. And I just wanted to make sure they can see the board and all of that. Good,
Yeah,
good.
you good to go.
Donald Kahn. So we have a word. I have a word called shalom. We want to test you on this word in the paleo. Like I said, I want to make sure I take the time to do the paleo because it takes time to grasp this idea. And once you get it, you have it. If I were to say shalom, what does that word mean? You take your time and write it down. In your what does this word mean in Hebrew? Type it in the register so I can see. Not shalom. I don't know what that is. Right, sir?
What was that?
I don't know what shalom is. We don't use that. We use shalom here in I.S.U.P.K. Shalom. That word right there. What does that mean? Yeshua, Marie, Bree, and Thomas. What does that mean? Shalom. Type it in the register. Very good. You own it. She's on it, boy. Very good, sister. Everybody's participating in class. I appreciate that. Means peace. Right. Means peace. We don't say shalom or whatever these camps are saying out there. We say shalom. Not shalom. Shalom. So you can see the word. Shalom. Yeah, okay, there you go. Shalom. So, here's another word, and you know what I'm going to ask you. Do you use the connectors independently? Are you going to use independent connectors? Or are you going to use dependent connectors? And if you're going to use both, just type a 1 and a 2. Help you teach you out. If you're going to use both, it means peace. Thomas, Bree Thomas. That's it. It means, but very good. You could say when you can say hello, it's like a greeting, but it actually means peace. But you can say, when you say it's like our way of saying. You would be right in that sense. It's like our way of saying hello, but it actually means peace. Peace. May peace be with you and your household. Peace. So that's really what it means. Peace. But you own it. That's right. That's right, Brie. Okay. Amataza, we got another student. Good, okay, good. Oh, that should pronounce Amataza Yashakar. You use one, okay, We're going to use independent connectors or dependent connectors. Or we're going to use both. We'll let you type your answer in. I'll translate the word in Paleo. Shah. La. Then we have Shalom. Do I use independent connectors or dependent connectors, or do we use both? Yeshua Marie, she has 1 and 2. Very good. Amataza. Thomas and Bree, we'll let you type your answer in. We'll see what, you got answers there. I just want to make sure everybody's comparing in class. Everybody participate, because that's how you learn. There's no right or wrong answer here. I'll correct that as much as I know. So we're going to get you used to typing in the register. That makes you a strong student. So Thomas, what do you think? We're going to use independent connectors here on Shalom, or we're going to use dependent connectors, or we're going to use both. Or we're going to use independent connectors, dependent connectors, or we're going to use 1 and 2. Or we're going to use both. Just trying to get you guys used to writing it down that way. Because that way you communicate We'll give you just another second here. Bree and Thomas, take your time. I appreciate your participation. This is very good. Lashawan Qadash is a great language in Paleo. It's a great language. It's our first tongue. And we'll go over this series. And doing them both sometimes can be confusing, so we're going to do Paleo. Still waiting for a couple answers here. We'll give you another few seconds here. Okay, well, for the sake of time. Okay, good. We're going to say the word, to break down the word shalom is shalom. So, 1 and 2, if you have a 1 and 2 in the register, that will be right. You guys are on it. That's exactly right. So, amatazah, and Yeshua Marie. We're going to say the Shah is pronounced it independent. Shah. Okay, a lot of sir. Shah by itself. As a matter of fact, let's get this word. Let's yeah, that's good enough. I think can you let's see. I guess yeah, we can see it. Shah by itself. So you say Shah by itself. Oh, Lord Christ.
You can just say right here.
Okay. Welcome another student in the house. Brother Tim. Another student in the house.
10 minutes. You may want to take your hat off.
Yeah,
Just give you
the what, sir? The what? Yeah, we have just because you have to have a. He explained to you.
Oh no, he good. He good as well. It's not good.
Shah, independent. And then, Tim, you bring your book, piece of paper, or
No, I didn't.
okay. The next time you can bring one up. Okay. We'll build up from here. Have another brother in class. Always good to have students directly in class. So Shah, and then when you do the la and the ma, you say la. Then you have to add the m to it, lam. So that means they are dependent on their pronunciation. So if you had 1 and 2 in the register, it's Yeshua Marie. And if you're thinking, I believe all of you probably had it in your mind, I'm pretty sure. And amatazah, then you will be right. So it's shalom. Shalom. What we're doing to reiterate, the connectors for Hebrew in Paleo, these are the alphabets, or you call them characters. And they would be called characters, I'm sorry. You call them alphabet. Had it backwards there, sorry. They're called characters, Hebrew characters. This is Lashawan Qadash. The vowel sounds is A and I. You take these sounds and put them into words, and that's what we're doing now. Shalom. The translation of that word is peace. This is the Hebrew pronunciation, shalom. But in order to pronounce it, we have to break it down into connectors. Okay? In other words, sha. That is a sound. That's why we wrote that sound. Okay? And it's independently pronounced by itself. That makes sense? Sha. That's why we put the upside down, the green. I use green for illustration. The one, don't pay attention to. That's just for the students typing in, right? Sha. Now you have la and the ma put together. You can't say sha la ma. You have to say shalom. Sha independently, but you have to join these two together to make lam. That makes sense? So we're going to use, they are dependent upon themselves to make a sound. Yes, sir?
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I understand the shop.
Yes, sir.
Because I see it, you know, with the characters from the characters.
Exactly.
Okay, sure. That's a whole word. La. Because it's connected to a vowel. Because it's connected to a vowel in the letters.
Not a vowel. Because they are two characters that are joined together. The ma, the la, and the ma join together to make one sound. Lam. You drop the A. We don't need it. Because it's at the end of the word, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so this sound, the la and the ma, are what? They're dependent upon each other to make a sound.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah,
So
that makes
la.
sense
And that's what we're doing, bro.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. All right. Give yourself a hand. That's good. Very good. Very good. Lam. That's very good. So we say shalom. We don't say shalom. I don't know what that word is. But shah, to reiterate again, and lam. We take the time to make sure every student understands because if you get thrown off from this, then you'll get frustrated and you won't understand. But I think you understand, Brother Tim, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, now let's say it again. So you take how would you say it? The la and the ma and do what?
You join those together.
And they would call what?
Dependent connectors.
Very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dependent connectors. Very good. Shalom. And that's a good word. And that's we'll erase this word here. And I'm going like this from a review from last week, because if I do this series, then people wouldn't be ready for that. They would, but I don't want to rush things. And let's do a word called daughter. We'll type a word called daughter. In the English, D-A-U-G-H-T-E-R. And for the sake of time, if people know what it is, I'll give you a second there. If you don't, if that's fine, it's not a problem. We'll give you about 30 seconds, see if you know how to translate the word daughter. What is it? How does it translate? You don't expect you to, but if you did, that'd be a plus. That's good. And you may not. You have to look the word up, like I do too sometimes, a lot. But daughter, anyway. Daughter, we go. It would be called ba. Banath. Banath, yeah, so make sure. Banath, B-A-N. In Hebrew, it translates as this word, banath. Banath, yes, sir. And then, banath. We'll let you guys write that down. That way you can.
So we got it in English. We got it.
This is the English, and that's the pronunciation. Now,
pronunciation in Hebrew and English.
this is well. What are these characters here? Ba.
Ba.
What's a Hebrew character? Ba.
Ba.
Okay. And then this is daughter. That's English, of course. I think Officer Marduff may have a pen.
We got a pen for you.
Yes, sir. And so, on this particular word, banath, we'll ask again. I want you to participate again. Are we going to use independent connectors only? Or are we going to use dependent connectors only? Or are we going to use both to make this word happen? Banath.
Both.
Raise your hand, sir. Both? Okay, write that down. Brother Tim say both. So I'm going to let Yashamari, Amatazah, and Thomas Brown, and Bree Thomas, we want you to Tell me, is it going to be independent connectors that we're going to use here, or dependent connectors, or both, to make that word happen? Because in the paleo, you have to have connectors. Type of 1 if it's independent connectors only. Type of 2 if it's dependent connector only. Type 1 and 2 if it's independent and dependent use. And of course you want to build your vocabulary there. Yeah, I mean, you got some catching up to do, but you'll get there. And write all these alphabets, write all those down. I'm sorry, characters.
Yeah.
Write your characters down. That's it. Amataza, she has ba na. That's very good. Okay, then we'll underline what she has. She has ba. She has na, like that. We'll see if that's right. I believe that's what you have. Yasha Marie saying, yeah, we'd have to use both. That's fine. And we'll correct it. We'll correct it, or we'll just say you had it. And then I'm not sure, Bree Thomas. Okay, we'll go over and we'll find out. In other words, and very good. We'll give you a few more seconds. In other words, are we going to use only independent connectors here? In other words, is everything just going to be ba-na-tha or banath, or dependent connectors? So we're going to use both, or we're going to use dependent connectors by themselves. I mean the whole word, which is probably not a little bird with it, or we use both. So type of 1 and 2, or type of 1, which one that you choose. Bree Thomas, we're gonna solve that. When you say I'm not sure, we're gonna get to that. Has everybody got an answer? You wrote it down? Okay, well, we'll go with that. Daughter, but not. The first thing we're going to do is this. Let's sound it. Ba. The word is pronounced or enunciated ba-nath, which means daughter. So the first thing I hear is ba. Oops, use the wrong color again too. I won't use that. I don't want to confuse nobody. For the green, dependent connectors, we're going to use that little symbol right there. Ba. That's the first thing you hear is ba. I'll put a little dash there so you can kind of, that dash doesn't mean anything, but it's just so you can see that I'm doing that by itself. You hear ba. Independently pronounced ba. Oops. No, it would help to go ahead and write the word out. Translate it. Sorry. Ba. Then we'll say na. Then we'll say the first thing we use, apologize for that, and get some time to get ahead of myself. Now, let's do it again. Apologize, don't want to get nobody confused. Under that B sound, under this B sound of ba, it's independently pronounced by itself, ba. That would be this ba right there, by itself. Hope everyone trusts that everyone's understand that. Ba, by itself. Don't need any help. It can make its own sound. Ba. Ba. Trust everyone understands that. You with me, Tim?
I'm with you.
All right, yes, sir. Now, The other part, the answer to the whole matter here, you have to join the na and the tha together. That's this sound and that sound, tha. That would be this. I kind of put a circle around nath. In other words, it will have a connector like this, nath. And that's what you hear. Ba, nath. Now you drop the A, you don't need it. We don't need that A right there. We just need that much of the word, th, tha. Because that's how the word is spelled. It wouldn't say ba na tha, ba na tha. We're not saying ba na tha. We're saying banath. The last thing you hear is tha. Tha. Banath. Huh. That H sound. Banath. That's where we do it. You understand that? Pretty much. Bree, type a 1 in the register if you understand that one. Or do I need to go over another pronunciation? Or do you need to re-illustrate it again? Or everybody, if you understand this, type a 1 in the register. Ba-nath. If you understand it, type a 1 in the register. Very good. Amataza. Amataza. Yesha Marie. Breathe, you understand it? Type a 1 in the register. Very good. Ba, ba, then nath. You have to pronounce the word, you got to look at it and pronounce it and say, it's not ba, na, tha, it's ba, independent. Then you have to join the na and the tha together, which makes nath. Since you don't need the A in this case, because that would be another word. That's why we spell it out first, so you can learn how to enunciate the word. Banath. Ba, nath. Ba, independent, nath, together. That make sense? Got it, all right. And keep your notes real good all the time. That way, you'll see these words, and after a while, you begin to see how the paleos pronounce. You'll understand it. It'll make sense because you will have done it over and over again, and you can feel for it. Banath. So everyone has that pretty much written down. Give it another second and make sure you write that word down, because like I said, for the sake of connectors, and write in your book, these are your illustrating connectors. I mean, it's going to become a part of your vocabulary, but you're illustrating connectors. That's what we're doing now. Of course, we can get into more words, but you can't help but to illustrate the vocabulary of the words, because that's what we're doing. But for the sake of illustration, we're illustration that they're connectors. That's what we're bringing out. The connectors and how they are used. Whether they're used independently or dependently. Do they need, can they be pronounced ba by itself, or does it need a dependent character to pull them together, like nath? Give you about 10 more seconds there for that. That makes sense? Okay, and I'll erase this. And of course, if you miss this word, you can rewind it at your leisure. Look like we're just going to stay on the paleo this week, because I want to make sure that everyone understands exactly what the Paleo Hebrew is before we actually move on to the Assyrian. We did a brief understanding of it. We did a brief understanding of it in the last couple weeks, so that you'll understand what the characters are. You know, and you got them in your notes. And we'll write them over again next week. But right now, I just want to stick exclusively on the Paleo. The new students coming in, Brother Tim and some other students. Some students have been around this a little bit longer, but still, thank you for your patience for not going to the Syrian this week, because we want to make sure you understand the connectors. I think we got a little time left. We got a little time left. We'll write a word. And I believe it's, let's do a word called because. In English, the word because. That word will be pronounced. And as you get further, we'll go over some of these words to see if you got them down and written in your vocabulary, so that you begin to build a vocabulary, and you'll be able to tell me what it means, how to translate because. Because means kaya. Ya. Ya. Write that down, and you're going to be able to refer back this as the weeks go on. Before you know it, you're going to be very proficient. And write down in your register, it's just going to be pronounced ka-a, ka-ya, or ka-ya. Write in your register if it's going to be one for independent. In other words, with these characters, the ka and the ya.
Right beside it. Oh.
Yep. The ka and the ya be pronounced independently upon each other. Will I join them together? Will I join the? I mean, there's all kind of ways you can do it, but I mean, if you, it's really only one real way to do it. And when you take the time, I mean, you can get them confused though. But it's at ka, then the ya sound. Write a 1 and a 2. If it's both, you're going to use dependent connectors in here, or just going to use single connectors. That's independent connector of itself, ka-ya. Or what we say, ka-a. Write a 1 if you're going to use independent connectors, a 2 if you're going to use dependent connectors. The whole word is the same, pronounced all together. In other words, what I'm saying, will this be one whole sound? Ka-ya? Will it be ka-ya? Will it be ka-a? Will it be ka-ya? You're going to write a 1 if it's independent sounds, ka-ya. If it's dependent connectors, or we're going to join and hold it together, because there's just 2 characters there. That's all that's here is just 2 characters. That's all that's there. How will those characters be broken down and pronounced? Yeshua Marie and Amatazah. Yeah, very good. Carry it. What you got? Yes, sir.
Independent is two different Just two different things.
Okay, that's your answer. Good. We'll compare it diligently here. And Bree, and Thomas. Give you another 15 seconds here. Type your answer in. Then we'll end class here in a second. Write your notes down. The next week, we won't even go over the Paleo connection. We'll go over Syrian. And we'll write down all of the Syrian. We'll write the ending characters. We'll even give some examples of the ending connectors, how they work. We did it last week. We'll reiterate and do it again for new students. Okay? Okay. So, let's break this word down. Kaya. We won't need the red, so we'll say the first one will be ka. Just like that. The ka is by itself. Ka. And I keep doing it again without translating the word. I apologize to you. I apologize. We got to at least give you we got to at least give you the characters, right? I apologize. I get ahead of myself sometime. Ka. That's the first one. Then we'll use another one. Ya. Ka. Ya. There's that lazy Z again. Always laying down somewhere. Kaya. Write that down in your notes because this is valuable information. I mean, it's been passed down since 1969 that I know. So pass this information on. So write it down in your books. Valuable information. Kaya. And we'll say the ka by itself is independently pronounced. Ka. And of course, what's left is ya. We'll say ya. That's our illustration of connectors and how they work. You can't say kaya. You have to say ka-ya. You can't say kaya. Can't say it real fast like that because then you would have them dependent upon themselves like kaya. It's got to be, you can understand what I'm trying to say. Ka, take your time. Ya. Because if you would pronounce that all together, it would be kaya. Right? And that would be, yes sir.
That'd be a different word.
Be a different word. Yeah. I mean, we'd have to spell, it may even have an H on the end for that matter. There ain't no telling, very good observation. That's exactly right. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. It's kaya. Been a good class. Come back with your pencil and paper. Let's see, what do we got here? 8:45. Yeah, kaya. We'll make sure that sinks in. Write this down. Did you get all your characters written down, Tim?
I'm writing 22.
Okay, yeah, take your time. I'll leave them up here.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yes, Amatazah, Yeshai, Bree Thomas, and I think it was Thomas. In a Tawal class, that means good. Excellent class. Excellent. 10. Come back next week. Excellent class, that's what we had, very good. The officer said we was gonna have somebody. I'm glad to see you. I remember sitting there in class over and over with troopers going over these characters and trying to understand things until things just registered. And then you understand and you can speak this language. It will help you to understand things like the Lord's Prayer, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually translate the Lord's Prayer using these characters in Hebrew and go over the whole Lord's Prayer. Abba Nawa, Shabbat, Shemayim. That's what we do in the Tanakh when we do Sabbath service. Qadash, Hayah. We'll go over that. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We're going to go over all of that. And but for the sake of understanding the connectors that we've written down here, They don't change. The more you begin to see, it's nothing. You have to. Let's put it this way. Because if you didn't have the word kaya in front of you, you couldn't put the connectors. You wouldn't know how it's pronounced. So you have to have how to spell it. Ka. Ya. Just like that. You have to have that. You got to have those two in order to understand the word. Wow, very good. Yasha Marie has a question. Salakia, sir, is kaya both independent and dependent connectors? No, they are independent totally. Who wrote that? Yasha Marie? No. They're independent. They're not both. You don't say there's no dependent connectors there. They're everything. They're not dependent upon here's how you want to say it. They are not dependent upon another sound other than themselves. Ka, ya. That better explains it. And if they were dependent upon themselves, you would write stuff like this. Like the word for yes is kan. And you would write kan like that, and then you would have to join it all together. Because it's not kan na, it's kan. One whole word. Then you need a dependent connector there. That make sense? Shabari. That's right. Water sister. Kan. You need it needs the ka needs the end to make that sound. Kan. Not kana. That's a whole nother word if you put that a on there. That's why we go to the connectors. You can make up a whole nother word. That's very good. So I want to do this. Give yourself a hand for the participation that we did in the class. For the students online, we expect to see you next week. Thomas, Bree Thomas, Amataza, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tisha Marie and Bree Thomas. We want to see you next week. And then we're going to break these words down again next time. We're going to do it in the Syrian, which doesn't have any connectors. It makes it a little harder to pronounce, actually. But the Paleo. Yes, sir.
The announcement should be available.
Yes, sir. And then we're at the end of class. You want me to?
Yeah, come on, yes, sir.
We've in class. We had a Tawab class. Shalom for everybody for joining in. We're actually joining again. We're going to teach Lashawan Qadash. Next time it's going to be a Syrian. Okay. We start at 7 o'clock with I.S.U.P.K. Security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. The rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are not to be saluted. They are to be saluted only. Salakia. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and the sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8 and 10. Means tenth in Hebrew, ma'asharah. 10% of every penny of increase the Lord gives to the treasury department or teacher. The priest fund, free will offering for the priest. It's not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give for the priest fund. Upcoming holy convocations will be, it's a Passover, sir. will be, let's see, where's my Passover right here? Oh, there.
Should be the second one.
Second one says, it's like I said. The Passover, the 14th day of the first month, has to be postponed and pronounced by make sure you stay in contact with your camp leaders by phone, by computer. Make sure you have communication with your camp leader for the Passover to be announced. To reiterate, make sure you get with your camp leader.
Just let them know the scriptures. It's the scriptures right up under there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just let them know where they can find the scriptures that pertain to the Passover.
Absolutely, absolutely. Exodus 12, pertaining to the Passover, the scriptures. Very good, Slide. Exodus 12, 1 through 51, Leviticus 23, 4 through 5, 1 Corinthians 5, 7 through 8, and 2 Corinthians 30 and 17. Those are your scriptural Passover scriptures. And then, announcement, reminder Achim and Achwath, that's men and women, to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, and headband, and scarf. For that, we say, Shalom.
Shalom. Most High in Christ.
Most High in Christ.
What y'all brothers trying to eat, man? What y'all brothers trying to eat, man?
Man, I ate on that 3 hour drive.
I understand that, man. So Tim, you gotta head right back out?
No, I'm here now. Oh, no, I'm be here for.
You did great, Tim. I mean, you catch on quick, man.
I was it was like when you did the last one.
Yeah.
Maybe a pen mark.
Okay. Ain't no thing.
Like when you did the con, right? I was like, cause I was thinking,
Right.
cause you know,
Right.
really the vowels are like
Right.
just a complement of the consonants, cause they 22 consonants. I knew there was vowels. I thought you just
22
pronounced the
characters.
consonants. 22 characters.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was I know they 22 characters.
Right.
But I didn't know. I thought you pronounced the characters like with the ah or with the like you know like con like with the a sound.
You don't say can. It's
No.
ka. Everything you're right. It's ka.
So I didn't know.
That's why I put it up
A
there.
and I.
Ka,
Okay.
A and I. This one just got two. That makes the language a little easier. But ka and na. And it's you'll get used to them.
Oh, this is a process.
It's a process, but once you learn how to spell, here's the key. Once you know how to spell the word, it's easier to pronounce the word. You know how to spell that word, you ain't gonna be able to pronounce it. That makes sense?
It made much sense. Yeah. So I wrote it down the way I know I can understand it.
Most High.
'Cause I wrote down like how you did daughter.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Daughter in
Is that
English. Bana.
Yes, sir.
Bana. Then I got where it says, well, in Hebrew there's Bana,
Bana.
and I wrote it in the Hebrew characters,
Right?
but it's in reverse. But I write up under it.
Right.
I put it how it's supposed to be right.
Right, from right to left. Exactly.
Right.
Hey, listen.
I had to do it right.
Everything that you want to make as a mistake, I have done.
Yeah.
I have done it. I mean, trust me. That's because it's not natural. It is natural. I'll take that back. It's not. It's our language.